It was the evening of May 3rd, 2007. The McCann family was on vacation in the picturesque resort town of Praia da Luz, located in the Algarve region of Portugal. The family, like many others, had come to enjoy the sun, the sand, and some time away from the pressures of everyday life. But that evening, something would happen that would change their lives forever and leave the world asking a question that remains unanswered to this day. What happened to Madeleine McCann? Madeleine was a bright, energetic 3-year-old girl with big blue eyes and blonde hair. She had been enjoying the holiday with her parents, Kate and Gary McCann, and her 2 younger siblings, twins Sean and Amelie. The family had settled into apartment 5A of the Ocean Club Resort, a ground floor unit not far from the resort's swimming pool and tennis courts. That night, Kate and Gary, along with a group of friends, decided to have dinner at a nearby tapas restaurant within the resort complex. The restaurant was just a short walk away, about 50 meters from their apartment. The group had devised a system. Each couple would take turns every 20 to 30 minutes to go back and check on their children, who were all asleep in the various apartments. At around 8:30 p.m., the McCanns left for dinner. Madeleine and the twins were tucked into bed, and the patio door to the apartment was left unlocked, so they could easily check on the children without waking them. It seemed like a harmless, practical decision, one that would allow the parents to enjoy their evening while keeping a close eye on their kids. But as the night wore on, this small decision would take on a much darker significance. At 9:05 p.m., Gary McCann made his way back to the apartment to check on Madeleine and the twins. He found everything in order. The children were sound asleep, and he returned to the restaurant feeling reassured. Another family friend, Jane Tanner, would later report that at around 9:15 p.m., she saw a man carrying a small child in his arms near the McCann's apartment, but at the time, she didn't think much of it. At 10 p.m., Kate McCann's turn came to check on the children. But when she entered the bedroom, she was met with every parent's worst nightmare. Madeleine's bed was empty. Her daughter was gone. The window in the bedroom, which had been closed, was now wide open, and Madeleine's blanket and stuffed animal were still on the bed. Kate ran back to the restaurant in a state of panic, screaming, "Madeleine's gone. Someone's taken her." What followed was a frantic search. Resort staff and other guests joined in, combing the area for any sign of Madeleine. The Portuguese police were called, but their response, many would later argue, was inadequate. In the critical early hours after Madeleine's disappearance, there were no roadblocks set up, no airport closures, and the crime scene was not properly secured. People were allowed to walk in and out of the apartment, potentially contaminating vital evidence. As the days passed with no sign of Madeleine, the McCann family's nightmare only deepened. The media quickly caught wind of the story, and soon the disappearance of Madeleine McCann became an international sensation. News outlets across the globe broadcast images of her smiling face, her distinctive eye marked by a small coloboma in her right pupil, becoming an unforgettable symbol of the case. The Portuguese police initially believed that Madeleine had been abducted, but as time went on, their focus began to shift. Suspicions started to fall on Kate and Gary McCann themselves. The police theorized that Madeleine may have died in the apartment, possibly by accident, and that the McCanns had covered it up. The theory was based on evidence that included sniffer dogs, which allegedly detected the scent of a cadaver in the apartment and in the car the McCanns had rented weeks after Madeleine's disappearance. But no concrete evidence ever emerged to support this theory, and in 2008, the McCanns were formally cleared as suspects. Meanwhile, the investigation was plagued by missteps and delays. Key witnesses weren't interviewed promptly, and leads were allowed to go cold. The British police eventually became involved, launching their own investigation. But even with their resources, they were unable to crack the case. Over the years, numerous theories about what happened to Madeleine McCann have emerged. One of the most persistent is that she was abducted by a child trafficking ring. Praia da Luz is a popular tourist destination, and it's been suggested that traffickers may have targeted the area, knowing that many foreign families were staying there. But despite extensive investigations into this possibility, no solid evidence has ever been found. Another theory is that Madeleine was kidnapped by someone who had been watching the McCanns in the days leading up to her disappearance. It was later revealed that there had been several strange incidents reported by other guests at the resort, men knocking on doors, asking for money, and suspicious individuals hanging around the area. Some believe that whoever took Madeleine had been planning it for days, waiting for the right moment to strike. In 2013, the British police launched a new investigation, Operation Grange, which generated renewed interest in the case. A new suspect, Christian Bruckner, a German man with a history of sexual offenses, was identified in 2020. Bruckner was living in the Algarve region at the time of Madeleine's disappearance, and phone records placed him near the Ocean Club on the night she went missing. However, despite this new lead, no charges have been filed, and Bruckner denies any involvement. To this day, Madeleine McCann's whereabouts remain unknown. Her parents, Kate and Gary, have never given up hope that their daughter is still alive. They continue to campaign for answers, raising awareness about missing children and working with law enforcement in the ongoing search for Madeleine. The disappearance of Madeleine McCann is one of the most enduring mysteries of our time. How could a little girl vanish without a trace from a holiday resort in one of Europe's most popular tourist destinations? Despite the international manhunt, countless media reports, and the involvement of multiple police agencies, the truth remains elusive. It's a case that continues to captivate the world, one that speaks to the deepest fears of any parent and the darkest possibilities of what might have happened to an innocent child. As the years go by, the chances of finding Madeleine alive grows slimmer. But for her family and those who have followed this case closely, hope still lingers. The question that has haunted the world for over a decade remains: what happened to Madeleine McCann?